Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Anuradha, I can hear you fine, properly.
Okay, hi Sanjay. Very good evening. I'm Anuradha Bhatia. I'd like to invite you to Vidyalankar Institute of Technology. Here we're holding web talk series for the students to get them knowledge about what is happening in the industry. So it is a request from my end to you that you tell them about how you reached this position, what has been your experience, and what knowledge they should have about the industry requirements. It's over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anuradha ma'am. First of all, good afternoon and one check. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Perfect. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm really glad and privileged to have this opportunity to share my knowledge or share my experience with you. And I'm hoping that we can have a little interactive session in next 60 to 90 minutes. And when you leave this session, I'm really hoping that you can take away something. I'm hoping that I can address some of your doubts, questions, and hopefully when you come into the industry, some of the inputs which we'll be discussing today, that will help you and that will accelerate your induction to the industry. Once again, I want to thank the whole arrangement was made by Anuradha ma'am. So thank you so much, and thank you so much for Vidyalankar Institute of Technology. Once again, it's a privilege for me to talk about what I know, what I'm doing, and what is my bread and butter, and hopefully you will be able to connect. My request to you is that you can stop me anytime. You can ask your question. So try to make it interactive, so that you know or you get what you expected for, rather than I'm doing a monologue. Now, before we get started, probably a quick introduction of myself, so that from where I'm coming and how you can really relate your career path with my one. So myself, Sanjay Ghosh, I'm currently located in Bangalore, and I'm part of Atos India right now. I got around 15 years of experience, and mostly I have done in the service industry. Not really much in the
One
product.
second, if I can disrupt you, we can only see the slide. It will be better if you switch to the video mode where we can right see you. Okay, we can just see the slide where it says Web Talk Series Web 27 2019.
We try.
Yeah, thank you.
But I don't think you can see the slide now. Can you?
I can see you. Slide is down,
That's
but we can listen to you. Yeah, you're audible.
okay. Fine. Okay, fine. Or okay, I think that's fine. Slides can wait. All right. So I was just saying, or introducing myself. So myself, Sanjay Ghosh, located in Bangalore, 15 years in IT right now. Mostly, I have worked in service industry, not much on the product side, of course. So I started my career with Accenture. I was in Mumbai actually. I spent 3 good years in Mumbai, and I have very good memories from Mumbai. So I'm really glad that I'm again talking to Mumbaikers. Um, Then I moved to Wipro Technologies, and I spent quite a time, like around 9 years there. And now I'm with Atos for last 4 years or so. Now, primarily, I have been involved in solutioning, architecture, design, development, or end-to-end delivery for customer. Some of the digital technologies, which probably even we are starting as your curriculum. So some of the things I'm doing in my day-to-day life, and hopefully I can share some experience from there. I have done a digital transformation. I have done customer experience. I don't know if you are familiar with this kind of terminologies, but we'll be discussing a little more on these terminologies like industry buzzwords or industry keywords. And so this is how I was thinking of structuring this conversation. So first, I go forward and share my take about what do you really need from my experience to get inducted into the industry. Which are the areas from my experience you think I think that you should focus on right now, the next few months or so. Probably you can consciously spend some time on these particular areas and see how it goes. And secondly, I wanted to talk specifically about a couple of traits. One of them, of course, agile. Probably the theoretically what agile means, what are the different model of agiles, what are the different framework we have in agile. But I want to share a little bit more on that. What exactly it means for you as a developer or as a programmer when you are starting with your career. Probably overall model is fine, but it is important to know that what is expected out of you when you are joining an agile team or a scrum team or a safe team. We'll talk about that. I know that you or almost all of you probably already familiar with cloud computing and probably have some kind of familiarity with salesforce.com. I belong to salesforce.com, so I'll talk about little bit about Salesforce and how it can really help in terms of digital transformation, in terms of achieving some of the industry trends or traits. So we'll talk about that. Now, as I said, I spent good 15 years of in this industry, completely IT industry. I moved around from one service company to another service company, and but if I look back and if I think that I need to restart something, if I need to restart my career as a fresher debut or as a programmer once more, I feel there are two things which are very important. Maybe when you listen to these two particular phrase, these are blanket phrase. These are subject to interpretation. But at the same time, if you keep these couple of words in your mind and focus on those, I think that can really help. One thing is aptitude, and second thing is attitude. So I call it power of two A's. Now, as I said, these are blanket, right? I mean, you can interpret the way you want. So it really doesn't really mean that there is a definition of what is good attitude or what is, expected out of you when in terms of attitude or what is good aptitude, right? So it's always contextual. So it may not be, what is good for me, probably, it may not be so good for another person when they are evaluating this particular, scenario. So why not try to dive into some of the my personal experience in this context. So when I joined Accenture 15 years back, I remember that I was in a training room. I was being trained on Oracle. It was SQL, PL forms, reports. Those are the traditional technologies. I mean, of course, no cloud training was there. To grab. So I was being trained on Oracle, and it was supposed to be a 3 months training. And during the process, after 3 weeks or so, we were told that because of some new opportunity and engagement coming in, uh, the 3 months training now shrinked into a 1 month training. And what does it mean for us? That we have to finish off everything by 1 month and we have to join the project. We're excited because honestly speaking, we did not like the training. We wanted to be with the, part of the project team and wanted to contribute to the customer use cases. So we are very excited, and our training was over by a month. Then we're waiting for our project. Some of us in our batch got into that new opportunity. It was related to Oracle, so they are really happy and happy bunch among us. I was on the other side of the road, so I was not included into that project team. So it was really a phase or 2 weeks probably when I was thinking actually what exactly I'm doing, and I'm sure if you know somebody who has just entered into this industry, and when you will be entering, you may also go through that particular phase. Now, it is very important that you don't lose yourself during those moments. We call it bench in industry terminology. That you don't have a project, you are on bench. And after that, 2 3 weeks after I was on bench, and then I got a project, or I was proposed for a project which is not Oracle. Now you can think of my dilemma now. Now I've been trained for a month on Oracle. PL/SQL is something probably I did in my college too. Uh, but then I was put into a project which is Java, Starts, MVC framework, and related to that. And unlike now, during my college days, even from myself being from computer science background, we did not have that kind of Java or MVC rich curriculum. So it was very new for me, and the only thing played in my mind at the point of time it was, well, I'm going to get a project, so why not? And I'm going to learn something. I just attended 1 month training on Oracle, so I hopped on the ship. I joined that a Java project, and I spent there for 6 months, and that's how I started. That was my first project, right? And so probably a couple of things. If I look back at that time, definitely I did not realize that I consciously I'm doing something, best practice or I'm following something. But when I look back, I really feel that I took the right decision. First of all, I think I was flexible. Of course, I was hungry because I needed work. I mean, my colleagues are doing, or my friends are doing some work, working in a project, and I also want to be. I do something other than browsing internet on FP machine. And obviously, at that point of time, that played me and that drove me. But if I look back, I think that the flexibility I showed, that taking up new things like Java rather than waiting for the Oracle, probably helped me. And down the line, if I see these 15 years, so I started with Java, and after 6 months, I was put into a project which was not really Java. It was Oracle WebLogic, if you know about it. So it was portal, content management, website related things, that kind of stuff. And then I spent 3 4 years on that, and then I moved to Salesforce. Now again, I think I showed a little bit of flexibility, while choosing these opportunities. It's not that I was actively looking for it, but it knocked my door, and I just opened the door and I jumped on the ship. And right now, if you look at Salesforce technology around, it's really hot. I mean, it's really niche. So I'm really glad that I made the decision. So probably takeaway is that if you can be yourself during those moments when you don't have a project, you don't know what to do, and you have to accept that it happens in everybody's life, not only for a debut, not only for a fresher, it also happens for an experienced person. When you don't have anything to do, and you have to make sure that you can self motivate. I think that is very important, right? I mean, you may or may not find a person who is putting his hand on your shoulder and basically telling you how to deal with that particular tough time. It may depend that whether you have a mentor or not. But if you know that this is expected, this is coming, and I believe you can prepare for it. You can learn new things, you can explore new things during those days, and just take it forward. The other examples coming to my mind, I have one of my colleague come friend. Uh, I met him at Wipro, uh, and I met him at onsite when I was working at US. He's one of the performance appraisal. If you are familiar, or you can just consider it's just a result of his one of his exam. His performance was very poor. But somehow he was, he got to travel to on site to the customer place. And when I was meeting him, it was after 2 years of that poor performance. And that person, what I realized that that person is so critical for that particular customer at that given point of time that the organization cannot leave him out. So he's so critical. Now, just imagine that 1 year, 18 months, or 24 months back, he performed so poorly, and after 24 months, he's so critical that you cannot leave him out. I mean, if he resigns, probably you need to take him back. Now, what really worked for him and what really did not work? I mean, how did he did achieve this change in his landscape, poor performer to high performer, right? So I was really amazed looking at his progression in that line. I have not seen him when his performance happened. I just heard about it, but when I was meeting him, I was like, "How can you do this? I mean, if you really perform that badly, how can you do this?" So what I understood, or I analyzed, if I look back and try to understand what happened with him, is about expectation. Probably, it is very important that you know what is expected out of you when you are joining. I mean, probably in your today's life, right? I mean, what is expected out of you by your parents, by your friends, right? Everybody has a set of expectation out of you. Now, let's say that I am a very good programmer. I'm doing 24 hours. I can give 24 hours every day. I'm very hardworking. But the question is, does my hard work help my project? Does my hard work help my manager? I think that's the critical point many experienced people also miss. So it's very essential that you understand the expectation. Now, drawing this analogy to my friend's case, I feel that now he knows what is expected out of him, and probably he's doing that brilliantly. I mean, probably he's not spending 16 hours, 18 hours in office. He's spending 9 hours. But whatever he's doing, that is contributing to the cause. And I think that is very, very important. And that relates to another fact. Right now, probably in your curriculum, you are doing some of the very advanced technologies or very niche technology concepts, maybe big data. I met a few debut just yesterday who are talking about big data. They did big data project in their final semester. Maybe you are doing some analytics kind of thing using Python or Scala kind of thing. Maybe you are doing augmented reality project. But imagine when you will be joining an organization or joining the industry, there is no guarantee that you will get that kind of project, right? It's a fact that not many customers go big bang for all those niche technologies. It's a reality, and it's a reality check for all of us. So we have to be prepared to deliver what our customer needs. I think that's the most critical piece when you join the industry, and for everybody, every one of us, not only for you, but also for all the experienced people, including myself. So if my activity, my contribution doesn't help my customer, then it means for nothing. So I think the other point is you have to be flexible. You may not get big data work when you join your professional life. Let's be realistic here. How many customer does big data today? Many are doing, but with the particular organization, so put those filters that your organization and your project, what is the probability that you will get big data project? What is the probability that you will get cloud project? Nowadays, I hear a lot of advertisement on radio or on even on the footpath. I see those posters that have your career jump by doing this training, that training, all those advanced technology training. I don't deny the utilization or the utility of those advanced technology. You always need to do upscaling, no doubt about that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that primitive technologies like Java or some mainframe, those are killed. So be prepared that that may haunt you. You may get into a project where mainframe is there, and just for the sake of the customer's requirement, you need to work on that. There is no two way about it, right? And when we join industry as a fresher, as a debut, it is very important that we show that flexibility, because everybody probably doubt us, right? Especially the delivery lead or the technical lead who will be working with me, they will doubt us. Can I deliver it? Can I do it? What if we show that flexibility and we show that extra bit of challenge? I think that is very helpful. If you show the right spirit that okay, fine, I don't like a spreadsheet, but if you're asking me to do this task, I'll do it. I'll do my best. But then I'll explore other opportunities. If you do a spreadsheet work or if you do a Java work in your first project, that doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot change your stream down the line. You can work on another niche project, very soon. This is very dynamic world, trust me. I started with Java, right? I said I studied the Oracle rather, but I never worked for an Oracle project. So that's how it is. So you have to be flexible, keep in your mind, and it's going to be different. Whatever you are doing today, the way you are doing today, let's take example of your project team, right? I mean, your final year project or assignment team. I think 8 out of 10 probably you are doing the project with somebody you already know, your friend. So you choose that group, and you are trying to achieve something which both are interested in. But in professional life, you will get into a situation where you may not find like-minded people in your team, and that's why it's called professional, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be like-minded, but your objective is same to satisfy your customer, and that's how it is. Now, if you get into that situation, you have to be prepared to deliver into that situation, right? I mean, even if you don't find like-minded people, if you don't find a buddy in your team, but still you have to deliver. You have to show that flexibility and mingle up with the team members, right? And understanding that differentiation, understanding that it is going to be different, and if you can be prepared mentally that it is going to be different, I think that will give you a huge boost when you come to this industry. Now, obviously, you need to work on technical skill set. You need to work on mental setup or soft skills, what I call it, presentation skill. How do you talk? How do you dress up, right? So all those things you have to understand. But I think at the end of the day, your basics need to be very strong. Why so? I believe all of you are aware how fast technology is moving, right? I mean, in the last few years, we have seen tremendous evolution in technology. Probably in 2 years back, I was saying cloud computing is the niche technology, is a trending technology. But if I say the same thing now, probably you'll laugh at that. Cloud computing probably no longer is a niche technology or trending technology. It's a technology of past now because everybody is using cloud technology, cloud computing. Now we're moving on. So very fast the landscape is changing. Now the big data is coming. Probably big data is old now. Now we are talking about big data, not with data lake, but with streaming data. So we want to get the result, very, very real time. So that's how it is changing. If you are familiar with Salesforce, assuming some of you, earlier we were talking about classic, now we are talking about lightning, and very soon we'll be talking about something called web view, web component, right? So it's moving very fast. Now, if your basic is good, you can pick up anything and everything. So what I believe or what I experienced with myself while jumping between technologies is I liked Java. I loved Java when I did work on Java. Uh, that was one of the first programming language I did attentively. C, C++, I probably did a pass. And I learned Java well, the object-oriented programming well. And then down the line, when I was picking up some other new language or new technology, including Salesforce, it really helped me. And I believe that if you are good in at least one language, if you are good in at least one tool, probably you will be able to pick up any other advanced tool in the same line. Obviously, knowing Java may not help you with the JavaScript. Knowing Java may not help you with the CSS. But conceptually, if you are strong, I think that can play key role when you need to be dynamic, you need to be flexible, I think all those aspects, and it will give you confidence. If you're confident that I know Java means I can pick up anything. I can pick up Apex. I can pick up Scala maybe. I can read Scala code and make sense out of it, right? So again, basics, right? I mean, probably you have heard this, word or this particular phrase many times so far. I'm probably getting a little repetitive, but I cannot emphasize more the importance of this. So if your basic is good, technically, as well as your presentation wise, communication wise, and so on. Actually, if your basic is good, you are through, you are in. And one of the basic is you have to be confident. So don't lose your confidence at any point of time. If you're on bench, it's not that you did something wrong. If you are not getting some project for 2 weeks, 2 months, it's not that you did something bad. So make sure you are confident, and at any given point of time, don't allow other incidents which may or may not have relevant to your career, to impact you and to spoil your confidence. I think it is important. I wanted to share one more thing, which is very close to my heart, I can say, because this is something I was thinking for quite some time while I was attending some of the training sessions. I believe you also go through certain presentation skill, verbal communication, that kind of training. If are not, then definitely you will be doing it while you join the organization or the industry. I attended many of those during my career. Now, in every training session, what I understood, the gist was you need to spend focusedly 15 minutes to practice this and to make it part of your life. Now, imagine I have probably attended 100 sessions. Now, every session is giving me this thought that, 10 to 15 minutes you have to spend exercising this particular thing. It may be being proactive. It may be on my presentation. It may be, doing yoga to remove the stress. So all this information I was getting. Now, what if I spend and I follow all the instructions, all 15 minutes? If I put together, probably I'll spend my day doing all those best practices, all the suggestions, all the things I just learned. Now, I was just wondering, what's wrong with these people? How can I spend so many times, so many 15 minutes learning or practicing things, and then when do I do my bread and butter thing? Then I realized how really you can manage it. And one of the ways managing it is doing it your own way. See, all of us has some trait. Let's be very frank here. I know people, who depends on memorizing things while appearing for an exam. And I know also people who doesn't read or memorize things at all. I'm probably in the in between, honestly speaking. But I have one of my roommate during my college days. I have never seen him studying hard, and he was more of like conceptual guy. He used to just understand things or listening to me from me or from one of my friend, and then he used to go to the exam and used to write it. Now that is his trait. That is the way he does. And if somebody is memorizing, that is the way he has been doing it, right? Now, if you suddenly tell that guy that don't memorize, start doing, concept understanding, and then you just do the exam for that, tomorrow's exam, you can't be able to do it in one day because he need to slowly move that, right? He cannot change himself in a single day. So important is you understand what is your strength, what is your own style or trait, what is your limitation. I'll give you a cricket analogy here, right? If you don't play bouncer well, then you have two options. One, be Steve Waugh, leave the bouncers, or probably be Virat Kohli, start or practicing hook and play the hook shot. So either way, but it's very important that you understand that you are struggling with bouncer. So it's important that you understand what is your strength, what is your weakness, and what is your own trait, and then try to align things with your trait. I'll give you one more example. I normally work on pre-sales, which is more of like deal, like customer, rolls out the requirement, we bid through requirement, we estimate and bid for it. I'm involved in those areas right now. What I have seen, maybe I'm a little old school. What I've seen about myself is I need to read that customer requirement document at least 2 times. Unless I read it 2 times, I don't feel comfortable. So maybe that's the trait I have. Even if I need to optimize my time, even if I need to make sure that I'm doing it fast, I cannot avoid that, because if I do just one time reading and try to do something, I don't find myself confident. So I try to manage that. Now I try to allocate more time that I know that I need to read it 2 times. So I try to plan it that way. I have kind of made compromise with my trade, right? Now, good or bad, I don't know. And even if it is a bad, probably changing it will take time for me. I think the same is applicable for you. Identify what is you are good at. Identify how you do things, how you understand the programming logic, how you understand algorithm. Keep it like that. Trust me, you will get tons of information when you join the industry. Forget industry, just Google it. How many search results you see, how many pages you can read through. During my school days, long back, internet was not there, or not so prominent, not so available. Probably, in a literature paper, I used to collect few books and merge them and create my book for me, and I used to read that. Is it possible nowadays? Probably not, because Google gives you so many search results that you cannot merge them. So you need to identify how do you do that. Right? One can be you create your baseline and then start updating or amending it, right? So it's not important how do you search or how do you read the Google results, but point is you need to understand how do you do things, how are you successful in doing things, and when you come to industry, don't change that because you have been successful so far. Now you can amend it. You can see that okay, in industry, I need to achieve different kind of objectives. Now, how can I reshape my trade to achieve that? Do that, but don't change yourself. Don't lose your confidence. So, what I say normally, you know, um, these are the 5 rules probably you can follow. If I can share my screen a little bit just to show that, and then yeah. So focus on your basic. I think I talked about that. Understand your expectations, what is expected out of you. Don't put in extra efforts, or which doesn't mean for anything. So you put your efforts where it matters. Be flexible. Take up anything. You show that you can do it, and you show that you have enough inside you. Acknowledge that it is different. Not acknowledging to outside. Acknowledge yourself. Right? That is going to be different. One interesting story here. I was talking to my latest batch who has joined from college. Some of them probably from your college, I'm not sure. Um, I was asking them what is the challenge you're facing, apart from the location things, etc., etc. So one of the challenges, at least 8 out of 10 said, here we have to spend 9 hours. We never did that in our school or college. So yeah, so accept that it's different. It's going to be different. Take fun out of it. So you don't think that, oh, I have to stay 9 hours. So what do? I'm getting no, just take fun out of it. So probably some of the activities you are doing in your college can apply here also. We do team activity, we do go for team outing, etc. We do birthday cake celebration, all the stuffs. Every organization does. So get yourself involved on those, right? And spend 9 hours in such a manner that you will not even realize 9 hours is passed. It happens with me now because I have a lot of work to do. But yeah, I mean, I don't realize when the time is flying by. Maybe with you, it will happen after 6 months, after 3 months, depending on how you are placed. But accepting that is going to be different from your college life is very important. Yeah. And as I said, don't lose your personal style because jo bhi karna hai, style se karna hai. So do it in your own style. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's what I wanted to share from my experience so far. Before I jump on the other things I want to cover, any questions so far?
1 second, sir. Come here and ask. Otherwise, 1 second, sir.
Sure.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, actually, I saw the slide, so that's why like it said like, are you aware of any recent trends in industry? So, what do you think about the peer-to-peer technology in the industry right now?
Are we audible?
Yeah, I can hear you. Did you ask, I mean, peer-to-peer technology?
Yeah.
See, I think I was coming to that point that what are the, probably I was about to ask you guys that what are the technical trends you think is driving the market, right? Anybody else? See, all this, new technologies which is coming in, right? Um, People are embracing, but people are embracing very reluctantly. So you talk about blockchain, you talk about peer-to-peer, if you talk about quantum computing, right? Not that everybody is accepting it. That's the truth. Yes, many people are accepting it, and they are trying to see whether that helps their business. But don't expect that huge changes in a single day. So whenever a new things is coming in, like peer-to-peer or blockchain, it will not happen in a single day. It will take time. In fact, I was reading in one of the analyst report that blockchain 2018 has been a little bad. So people do not find the value they are looking for. Think about it. You are investing money, right? So you want to invest on something which is already proven and which you think that can help you. So coming to your specific question, opportunity is definitely there. Some customers are definitely implementing it, no doubt about that, but not probably overwhelmingly everybody, because mass will follow something which is more proven. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does answer his question.
Thanks.
Yeah, we can go ahead.
Okay, now I'll come back to my question. So apart from peer-to-peer, what do you think that which is driving the industry, or which will drive the industry in the coming days? Any thought anybody has? I'm expecting that you know all these things, at least technology-wise.
Big data, they say.
Big data, yeah, that's definitely is that's kind of going big.
Anything else?
Anybody? Blockchain?
Blockchain, Node.js.
Yeah.
That's the questions coming up. Blockchain, Node.js.
Any augmented reality, VR, AR, having those wearable in your and watching matches?
Yeah, augmented reality and machine learning, virtual reality.
Awesome. Yep. I think that's coming really big. Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, knowing today's generation, right? I was expecting that these things, right? Which are the technologies which is swiping the industry around. Cloud computing, as I said, is not trend anymore. It's just a truth. I mean, it's just a fact now, and probably it's a matter of past. Now we are talking about quantum computing. Now we are talking about machine learning, artificial intelligence. These technologies also came a few years back, but still getting integrated with the business model, because not every customer has the big data use case, right? So probably as a customer, I want to do big data, but I don't know how I can use the big data for my business case. That's the challenge customers are facing. But I'm glad that you have some idea about which are the technologies which are trending, and probably next generation technologies, if I can call it. And my idea is that I'll not get into that technology, but because you already know, why not I share you some trends which is technology agnostic? Why not I share you some trends which is in general industry is adopting, or industry is thinking about, right? And probably you will hear about technology themes in many other forums. So let me try to take this opportunity to be a little different. Yeah. So what I was thinking, I identified few items for you, honestly, and probably go through those to explain you what exactly that mean. I know that you cannot see my slide, but I can talk through. The first item, which is, I believe, is very, very niche for last few years now, and I don't see it is, slowing down in future, which is digital transformation. So you might have heard this terminology before as a buzzword, technology buzzword. Yeah, and that happens, So in industry, many times it happens that just some buzzword comes and everybody basically runs after that without understanding what does it really mean. Does it really make any difference to the business? And but digital transformation is really something people are adopting, many customers. In fact right now, if I tell you, I'm working with at least 2-3 customers who are performing the same thing. But what does that mean? So digital transformation is nothing but bringing in this new technology which is proven. Let's say social media, let's say cloud computing, let's say machine learning or artificial intelligence, let's say some automation, robotics, in terms of not really that robot, but programming, robotic automation. So many industry or many customers, many business are trying to revolve or trying to renew their business processes with these new technologies. So maybe they have implemented 15 or 10 years back some business process, and after that they have not changed anything. Right now they are reconsidering, they're reviewing their business process and seeing how can they implement it with these new generation technologies. Just imagine if you go for a trip somewhere, how closely you check the reviews on TripAdvisor or any GoIBib or whatever. So how dependent are you on the social media right now? So before buying anything, how closely you monitor the peer reviews, how other users has given. So I think that's how things are changing, and customers have all the power. And when I say consumer, as a consumer, I also expect more and more power. That okay, today I'm looking at this, I want to compare this with another thing, then only I will make my decision. It's not anymore that somebody offered me something and I have to buy that. So that's how it is, right? So power is with consumer, and if you want to retain your consumers, business also need to adjust to that, right? It cannot be that I call you and ask for my shipping status, you say something, and then I mail you, you give me something else. So I mean, it will be consistent that it's a single customer. So when I'm a consumer for some business, let's say any telecom or any product company, for them I need to be one customer. Whether I'm calling by phone, whether I'm calling, emailing, whether I'm trying to tweet, or whether I'm going to a shop and trying to buy something, right? So that's a change which is happening for last few years. It's not this year or it's not very new, but not every customer has embraced the change before. So still I see that change is happening, and that's what we call digital transformation. Yeah. The other thing, little technical, little more relevant for you, even when you will be beginning with your career, right? Digital transformation, you may heard this, probably you will be working for a project which is doing digital transformation, but you may not know it. That may happen. That happens actually. Not ideal, but it happens. But that other point I wanted to discuss is Agile. I'm sure you have read about Agile models, isn't it? So one question. So for your project, what kind of model you have used? Can you identify that? Anybody? For your final year or this last semester assessment, which kind of model you have used?
So by default, they use waterfall only.
Yeah, that was expected, and probably to some extent iterative. I definitely did not think that you have used Agile, but you know Agile, that I know, because that's your curriculum, right?
Yeah, curriculum-wise, they've studied, but while implementation, it is either waterfall or spiral. That's it that they use.
Yep. I think that's what happens actually. That happens naturally to us, that we understand requirement and then go for the implementation and all. But the industry is really moving towards Agile. And when I'm say industry is moving, it's both way, buzzword wise. So there will be customer. I have met that kind of customer who probably doesn't know what Agile is or the impact, but they still want to be Agile, because that's how the industry is buzzing, right? If you don't do Agile, then you are falling back, right? And that's a challenge for us who are working on this, right? But at the same time, I feel that you can be prepared yourself for that. So why not? I shared a few things on Agile piece, and let's see if I can help you with that. I know you know the models. You know what is Agile. You know what is waterfall. What is iterative development, etc. How about, so this is your waterfall. This is what probably you are doing, right? You recommend you to design. So I'm not going into that. I don't know if you have seen this picture before, but this is Agile actually. So at the first go, you are giving something for customer. It's not complete, it's not the car, but at least you are giving something which customer can use for going from one room to another room or something like that. But you are giving a product which he can use. So I think that's the background of Agile, honestly speaking. So if I look back, and again I was reading some analyst reports and all, some of the big data project is failing. Do you know why? Because they are long-term project. So they started their project, let's say 6 months or 1 year back, and when they're finishing the project, they are finding it that project business case is not relevant anymore. The value for which they have started the project is lost. Sometimes due to the changing the requirements, sometimes due to the technology change, sometimes due to the customer demands. Reason can be anything. The bottom line is, the days are gone when you can wait for 12 months or 18 months or 24 months for a project to be completed and see the output. So as a customer also, if you're investing, you want to see the output faster. That's why Agile comes in. And that's a very simple, understanding why Agile is needed. Let's not get into the details of, what is Agile and all, just a value addition for customer, right? I'm paying you. So every month I'll be able to see something and which I'll be able to use, not just that, you share your screen and show me and go away, right? I will be able to touch it. I'll be able to access it. And that's the value Agile can add. Now, we have lot of Agile mechanism. I think I have worked with at least 4 or 5 of them, right? But which is commonly used, which probably it's a Scrum. I believe you have heard about this, right? So what does Scrum means? Now, one of the challenge I face when I try to deploy my team for some project. In fact, nowadays I'm doing a ramp up for one of my customer. One of the challenge I face that Scrum looks for team members who can do everything. Like you have to do development, you need to understand a little bit of knowledge of requirement, little bit of design, testing, etc. The Scrum doesn't say that, but that's the industry perception that one person needs to know everything. And then we think, how can I put a debut or a fresher to that project? Can he do that? Can he understand what we are trying to do in an Agile or Scrum? And that's why the challenges begins, right? I mean, how do I deploy you? How do I deploy a debut junior person? Because you need to be self-managed. That's Agile says. How can we do that? So I thought, why not, probably I've seen this picture before, but why not you understand that as a programmer or developer perspective, what is important for you, right? So, this is pretty simple that you are accumulating backlog, then you are doing sprint planning, and then doing that small development, and then delivering, which is useful for customer. But as a developer, what you have to understand here, that this Scrum is made for you, for team members. Right? So you have to talk, you have to speak. I don't know, I have heard this, that it is our Indian culture that we are normally little, reluctant to ask questions. We are reluctant to proactively, raise our concerns. Somebody very funnily told me that customer is asking, can you do this work? If it's an Indian colleague is saying, yeah, I will do. If the tone is like that, that means he cannot do it. So he'll not be able to do it. It doesn't happen with, when you go into a different culture, right? They say no when it is no, right? And Scrum really wants that you manage your work. And that means if you cannot do it, you have to raise your hand and you have to tell. So, as I said, I want to explain a little bit on what is your responsibility as a part of the Agile, right? And I'm sure that if you are joining this industry and if you are in a project, Scrum is going to be there or some other way or the other. Agile is must. There is no two way about that. And probably 90% project will be happening in Scrum. So if you can align yourself, right, because it's the mentality change. It's not really something you can read a book and learn. Right? You cannot learn, how to ask a question, right? You cannot learn how to raise your problem, challenge. So it's more of a culture, and that comes through close collaboration. So the way it works, that you decide what you are going to deliver after 2 weeks. So Scrum, as you know, based out of some sprints, and sprints are 1 to 4 weeks length. So let's consider 2 weeks, something in the middle, and you decide at the beginning what you are going to deliver at the end of the 2 weeks. So it's up to you. In an ideal Scrum world, nobody can force you. So ask yourself, can you make this kind of decision? Can you strongly say, okay, I can deliver this and this feature after 2 weeks? How many times you can do that? How many times you do it, right? And if you commit, the catch is if you commit, there is no way you are coming back, right? So main thing that the focus is on you, and you need to decide your work and you need to manage your work. There will be other people whom you can reach out to solve your problem, to open your deadlock situations, but it is you who need to manage. There will be no project manager who will be managing you. There will be no lead who will be taking your status every hour. So you are free, but at the same time you have to give the confidence to people that you will be able to deliver as per your commitment. That's the first thing. Second thing, whenever you are delivering something, you have to keep in mind that you are delivering something useful, right? There is no demo, there is no proof of concept. Those, I don't know if you're familiar with these words, but these are the words you cannot use there. You are delivering something, even if it is, is child bicycle or child cycle skateboard, you have to deliver that. Even if you are not delivering the whole car, you have to deliver this bicycle or this skateboard at the first go. So you have to keep in mind that whatever you are delivering, this must be useful. If it is not useful, then whatever you have done is crap, right? And third thing is you have to collaborate, and that's why all this Scrum is saying that it's all about team. If you look at my slide, right, I have said individual and interactions. So not on process, not on that, every time you have to write a particular email. That doesn't, Scrum is expecting you. But what Scrum is expecting, that as a developer, you will be talking to other guys, trying to understand what they're doing. And, if they're stuck, you will be helping them, and vice versa, you will also get the help from them. So I think as a developer, if you can remember these 2-3 things, right? First of all, you are in the driver's seat for your feature or your user story or your requirement. Okay, so nobody will influence that. You are the last word on that, and so your confidence level should be such that you can do that way. Second, you should not be reluctant to ask question and share your roadblocks and get help from others, right? And third, deliver something which is useful. Don't put your effort on something which is not useful for customer, right? So I hope that with these 2-3 things, maybe you can do some practice. Like I know that some of you are using Salesforce, and you can do a small 3 weeks project and try out how things works, right? Whatever you are learning in your curriculum, just put that into practice and see how that works. It can be 2-member, it can be 3-member, doesn't matter, right? You practice and you'll find a lot of things which is like automatically should come from you. You cannot learn those things. You have to practice over the time and learn it. What if you understand those and be ready when you are joining the industry? Trust me, we are really looking for agile people, and in true sense. And honestly, it's very difficult, right? All right. Now I will get into the other items I got to tell you. So just to have a look at the screen. So I covered digital transformation and agile. Now, other interesting topics I have is very close to my heart. Citizen development. Have you heard this terminology before? Anybody? No? Okay. So, but that's a trend, industry is going there. So let me quickly tell you what does that mean. So all the new tools, new solution, new systems, which is coming in industry and industry is adopting, those are expected to be very easy to use. So you don't need to be a developer to configure or use that tool, or set up the tool for your business. Anybody should be able to do that. Even the business user should be able to do that. And if you are using Salesforce, you would probably know a little bit of that, right? You can use, implement your requirements without a single line of code. So you don't need to write the code necessarily, right? And that's how citizen development is coming in. So every product, trust me, every product, including the integration products, which I never thought that it can be done by business. I always thought that integration is like a programmer's thing, architect's thing, have to come to us. But that is also happening right now. And of course, the product company need developers for developing those, but the way they are marketing this product and the kind of features they are exposing, anybody can do it. So you don't need to be a big programmer or architect to do that. And probably that gives you a key message here. I understand that as a computer science background or information technology background, we focus on technology. But if you don't understand customer business, you will get lost. At least in your team, somebody needs to understand that. And if you are a guy who has both technical and business understanding, you are the clear winner. At least in my industry, what I see, when I say my industry, I'm talking about service industry, right? So that's how citizen development is going to change things in coming days. Trust me, I have already seen this change happen. The fourth one is basically fourth industry revolution. It's a buzzword. We are already using it. We are using Hangout and YouTube Live to do this session. That's for fourth industry revolution. We'll be seeing that some of the connected things, right? IoT things. Your fridge is, or your home air conditioning is connected to your mobile device, right? So those are the fourth industrial revolution. Just to give a background, first, second, and third are: first is the steam engine. When the steam engine came, that changed the whole landscape of the industry. So that is our first industrial revolution. Second was the electrical. So when the electricity came into the picture, again things changed, and it created a havoc on the labor industry, isn't it? Same with the we are basically stepping into the fourth industrial revolution where everything is connected. That's the theme. Yeah, everything is connected, and everything is talking to each other. So that's the theme basically fourth industrial revolution is bringing in. And you will find a lot of articles around which is talking about how robotics or AI is going to eat our jobs, how we have to upskill to stay relevant in the market. So there are a lot of materials is going on the Google. So it's all about fourth industrial revolution. Personally, I think it will not eat my job, but I'll be probably doing a different kind of work. Yeah. So nothing to be afraid of. Data privacy, probably, in India, I believe that we are undermining this concept. But Western countries and other countries are really, realizing and valuing it. We really don't care, in terms of, okay, how many of you read terms and conditions when you sign up for Google product or say Facebook or anything? So you given with the terms and conditions, you just scroll down, find the checkbox, select it, accept, and go forward, right? Do you know how your data is being used? Yep.
Everybody just accepts it and goes ahead.
And including myself, I mean, knowing that I'm talking about data privacy now, but I also do the same way. Who has time to read through those? I believe personally that I should develop a software where I can find out those critical elements that which I need to read, not through the whole page, right? But that's a fact. But do you know that you cannot delete your image or photos on the Facebook? If you delete, it's still on the Facebook server.
Yeah.
And that's a risk. Yeah. So that's a risk, right? What exactly you're doing? What exactly you're giving away? Some of the European countries are very conscious about it. Trust me. They really don't want to give anything. When Russia, I was working for a customer who does business with Russia. Russia doesn't want to, give their data outside of their geographical region, outside of their border. So you have to put the server there. So data privacy is going to be very important in coming days. As we go forward, we'll realize the importance. Right now, anybody can call me, right? I mean, I don't know how they get my number, some credit card, some loan, anybody can call me. We are not that regulated, honestly speaking, so far, but our customers are, and that's why a lot of work is coming in, right? You may have heard something called GDPR, which started last year, the European countries. That means that, if very simply speaking, it's a big thing, that simply speaking, that I control my data. If I tell an organization that remove the data, that organization is bound to remove the data, right? We don't have that kind of culture here yet in India. As a consumer, I don't see that, but maybe very soon it is coming in. And cyber security and data privacy is going to be big topic. Trust me. I mean, it's a little boring topic maybe, but it's going to be very important in our life and in IT industry. The next one is costs over bespoke. Costs is nothing but SaaS products. It's like commercial out of the box, I think, off the shelf, we call it. So some product which is already prepared and given to you, and you just use it, versus you develop it with a programming language custom, right? So I see more and more customer is going for COTS. Again, I will repeat the full form: commercial off the shelf. That's how we call it. Okay. And more customer will go for that, and there is a good reason for that. Stable, maintenance is less, no patch, no support. It's very easy for them. And then the other topic which I'm seeing very much happening in Salesforce world, and probably in other technology also it will happen, that is technology convergence. Gone are the days when you are doing big data in one system You are doing, let's say, machine learning is another system, and you manage your customer in another system. How you are going to integrate insights coming through big data and apply this to your customer, right? So that I think the systems are coming up. We're converging all these technology things to one, so that it is easy for business to use, easy for business to use those insights and apply to their business. Yeah, and that is happening, and you will find it. Probably it will not impact directly, to us, because if I'm working on big data, I'll still work on big data. But for end user, for overall project structure, to have different kind of skill set so that you can, deliver the end-to-end value for your customer. All right. Yep.
Sanjay, there's one question which has popped up on YouTube. It's a person called Atharva Chogle. He wants to know, is it better to do a job in IT industry, or we should prepare for GATE and go to IIT for MTech?
Well, if you go for IIT or MTech, right? I mean, I have seen all those variations. It really depends what exactly you want to achieve, right? If you go to IIT, then there is no point you come back to service industry. There are many people does, but that I personally believe so, because you are then made up for something, or you should target something which is little bigger, maybe some product job, product company, product design kind of activities, right? MTech and unless it also depends on the institution where you are doing. MTech and BTech, I did not find much difference. I'm working with a lot of MTech guys. They get like per annum, maybe grand. But I don't see much difference in that, right? Ultimately, I will go back to my initial words. Is your basic strong? Is your are you flexible enough to take up things? Right? Obviously, if you are doing MTech or IIT from a good college, good university, that is going to help you to get the right kind of job. I think that's the difference, right? IIT guys will be placed in, or you'll be probably able to take up the opportunities maybe in Google, something core, niche, right? But that's only few can do it. I know people in my very close friend circle actually, uh, who did MTech from institution like ISI, the Indian Statistical Institute, and they are now working in companies like Yahoo and Nvidia. On the same batch, I know he was my batch mate or hostel mate actually. He is doing, just like me, service company in the Citibank, for example, right? So it really depends how you are focusing, what you want to achieve. I believe educational degrees are basically tools which will drive to your destination, right? For service industry, typically it doesn't make big difference. Of course, it will give you bigger pay scale. Of course, it will give you bigger opportunities, but that's all I can tell. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about Salesforce. Yeah, you're telling something, Anuradha?
Thank you for answering that question. Yeah, we can go ahead.
So let's talk about Salesforce. I believe that can be. We are running out of time, probably 22 minutes. So I'll quickly cover that Salesforce. I know that many of you probably know already about Salesforce, so not much introduction is required. Number one company. Probably some of the interesting fact is there is a lot of job opportunities coming in coming days, right? But don't align yourself to the Salesforce, because you may not get Salesforce project when you join the organization. You're placed in different technology, right? So don't love Salesforce too much, but Salesforce is pretty niche and market is really hot. I'm struggling to get people, so you can understand, right? And if somebody knows Salesforce, they are really hot cake. But why? Because some of the traits I was talking about, some of the trends I was talking about, Salesforce probably is ticking all the boxes. Technology convergence, COTS over bespoke. We talk about agile development. We talk about digital transformation. We talk about citizen developer. Everything can be done with Salesforce. Probably that is one reason why they are pretty good, right? Good, at least in coming years. They're number one CRM, and to show you my screen, because this is very interesting fact for anybody who is doing Salesforce now. You see how Salesforce is placed in terms of placement, in terms of ranking compared to other companies. So that's how it is. Honestly, I mean, this is a publicly displayed. If you go to the Salesforce website and you see this the same chart there. Like I just copied and pasted here. So no wonder it's very hot, right? And if you are doing it, then you can be one of the person who is doing probably around, it will create around 3 billion jobs in probably next 3 or 5 years. Yeah, and it does everything. It does IoT, it does artificial intelligence, machine learning. You may have heard something like Salesforce Einstein. Yeah. So, yep, Salesforce is hot. Now let's see what exactly Salesforce means, right? I'll quickly brush through this slide. Salesforce is cloud, you know that, right? So I'll not get into that. You are all familiar with cloud computing. But before I hop on, quick inputs. If you want to assess that some technology is cloud or not, just ask this 4 question. It's not exhaustive, but probably this 4 question you can ask, and you can try to screen whether this particular technology is really cloud or it is more of like virtualization. 2 things are different, right? Ask, is it on demand? So can be can it be provisioned whenever I need it? It is self-service. Do I need to depend on somebody? Is it shared? Public cloud is shared, private is not, but this is a question you must ask. And then how do you pay for it? Whether it's based on your uses, based on your number of users. So ask this 4 question, and if you ask this 4 question to Salesforce, every answer will be yes, right? And this is how Salesforce looks like. Assuming that you have seen Salesforce, so let us talk about a little bit, maybe a few minutes, what really works in the background, right? So you have seen Salesforce window. I can, at high level, divide it into 2 pieces. One is the platform, this whole box, blue box, and a set of applications which has been developed by Salesforce or developed by users on top of that. So Salesforce developed apps are known as standard, and then if somebody has developed their own app, it's called custom. When I say app, you can just consider this a collection of features or capabilities which you need. Now, I think application layer is pretty simple, right? Just have used something and you have created your app. Now let's focus on the platform layer. Now, the first thing, or probably the last thing, at the bottom, is the infrastructure. So whenever you have, I don't know if you have worked with Tomcat, I did, or any Oracle server, which I used to use long back. Whenever you do something, some development, some website, you need to have some hosting, right? Infrastructure. So that's where Salesforce comes. There's infrastructure layer. You don't have access to the infrastructure of Salesforce, by the way, because it's cloud. But something is there underlying, just to you have to understand that, and multiple tenants are using it, so that you are not the only person who is using that infrastructure. Then you got data layer, where all the data is stored. One significant difference, I'm sure you have done through your database management or database concepts in your curriculum. The normalization, the tables, rows, columns, right? In Salesforce, things are a little different. We call it object, we call it fields or attributes, we call it records, which can be easily mapped to table, column, and rows respectively. But fundamentally, so that's what you can see when you access Salesforce. But fundamentally, at the under the hood, which you cannot see because it's cloud, Salesforce stores data in a completely different way. So when you say create some, let's say, library, you create a table or object called library. Salesforce doesn't create any table in their database. They just add the information about that particular object into their database as a row. So that's why, I don't know if I'm going little more technology here, but that's what we call metadata driven, right? Because they save everything using metadata. You create a table in your perspective, from your perspective, but Salesforce consider it just a row of information in their table. So that's how the data layer is different from the typical Oracle or typical RDBMS kind of database concepts. And then we got an AI layer, which will show you. I'll show you a quick demo how Salesforce Einstein, which is the marketing name of the AI layer of Salesforce, how that works on top of the data. And then it also provides you some tools which you can use to develop the customizations. You can code. Some of you may know that the coding language is Apex. You have Visual Force. You have nowadays you have Lightning components. So there are a lot of things, a lot of capabilities Salesforce provides in the development layer. And few more fact check. There is an app exchange, which is is a marketplace. You can develop your Salesforce app and publish there. Of course, there's some process for that, but you can monetize it. Probably that's a takeaway actually. If you have a concept, you can just quickly develop your solution in a Salesforce organization, which is free, and then publish it to the App Exchange app and try to get some money out of it, or provide it for free as an open source or so, right? Yep, I think that's about Salesforce. Now, without losing any time, I will go into the demo. But before that, you have any question for me? Any question, Anuradha?
No, at present, nothing. I think they're all little engrossed in what Salesforce is all about.
Okay, great. So I'll show that and I try to explain, right? So again, I'll share my screen and I'll go there so that you can see what I'm trying to show you. See. I assume you can see my screen, right? Though it's white now. I hope it network works. So while it is loading, so Salesforce is completely cloud. It's a public cloud, so that means that you cannot install anything or you cannot install in your own machine. So there is no. So long back they used to use a slogan: zero software or no software. So nothing to install if you want to use Salesforce. Yeah, and you only need just internet connection and browser, to run this. So I hope my internet connection is good enough. It's opening up. It's taking a lot of time. I just hope that I can show you something. But yeah, so you don't need anything else apart from your browser and internet connection to work on Salesforce. Now, few more information. Salesforce is free.
So your voice is cracking.
I hope. Okay. Is it any better now?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me try again. Something is coming up. Yeah, so if you can see my screen, all these things are basically different apps. All right, so I just moved to the sales app. And as you see, I do not need to do any installation. So you can also just sign up, and you can also see the similar view. I mean, you don't need to do anything extra for that, and that's free. So you can just sign up with your email address, a username, and you will be all good. Okay. And what I want to show. So, yep. So without getting into the technical nitty-gritties, I want to show you something, the AI part, right? Which let's say that we have found somebody is interested in buying one of my product, and I have captured the details of that person here, and he's a CEO of a given company. His company is valid, and the company's annual revenue is say this, just some made up data. Now what AI is doing, AI is trying to analyze how other similar customers have bought my product, and then is giving me whether this particular person or this particular lead, as you call it, is going to buy my product or not. So what it's saying is 96% probability is there that this person will buy my product. Okay, I'll explain you how it works in the background, but that is the front end, you can say. And for people who may not be familiar with Salesforce, right? So once you sign up, you will see something like this, just a home page, just another website. And it's just a fresh one. So you see a lot, no data is there. So a lot of blank, portlets or blank segments are there, right? And then you can browse through. As a citizen developer, we don't need to do anything else. You just browse through and identify which are the tables you want to use or which are the objects you want to use, and just use that. Now, if you are tech savvy, want to do a little bit more, then you see this button here, setup. You click that, and you will be able to access a lot of configurable things. So what are the different things you can consider? So you can give access to another user, you can set up your own table, you can set up your own fields, and so on. And it just goes on. It's a huge system. I mean, this today's session is not about this system. Probably we need to go for another one, Anuradha. But yeah, so but this is where you do things. That's the message I'm trying to pass, right? So if you are interested, sign up. I can share the URL, or you can just Google it, developer edition Salesforce, and you will find the URL, and then just explore it. Everything is there if you want to learn Salesforce. Everything is free, publicly available. All you need to do is just fall in love in Salesforce. Okay, and I'll show you one more thing quickly. So because we have some 10 minutes, let me do that. And then I'll explain you how this thing work. So while it is opening up, I will explain you the use case I'm trying to achieve. Okay, the use case I'm talking about, let's say I have tweeted something, or customer has tweeted something about my product, or they put some Facebook post, or they have sent some email, whichever way they have expressed something about my product. And my concern is that I receive so much of information or so much of details from customer. It is very difficult for me to manually analyze those information and check whether it's an information request, it's a complaint, or it's some other kind of help they're expecting. Okay, so I thought, why not I try to develop something, some machine learning, some artificial intelligence, which will do the job for me. So whenever something is coming inside, some tweet, something, this machine learning tool automatically will identify that whether it's information, whether it's a complaint, or whether it's a help desk request, and other criteria even if you want, right? So that's how I try to show this. So let it come up. But that's the use case you will be trying to resolve. And to resolve that, I'll be using the citizen developer thing. So we'll be doing little programming, but I'll not get into that in this session. But that's how it will work. So my case, which is nothing but customer complaint, okay? And probably we have something like, I want to know about new model, right? And then we have this small segment here just to show you. And if you say predict using Einstein API, it should tell me which category it falls. So it says, because you are trying to have the new model, it says 85% sales, 13% information, 1% service. If I change it, let's see, I hope this is filled. Let's say refresh. What do you think it should tell me? Is it still sales? Let's see. Because I'm talking about repairing now, it converts my request into service. So this is a very basic use case. What I'm trying to do is, based on my earlier scenarios, I'm trying to create a model, or I'm trying to create a predictive model rather, to identify the incoming messages from my end customer. It can be tweet, it can be email, it can be a phone call, whichever channel it is. So right now I was just, for the sake of this demonstration, I'm just updating this subject line, and trying to save it and see how it is working. So if you want to try this, you can try it yourself. But to try this, you need to know how it works, right? What do you need to do? Let me quickly brief you. First of all, I have implemented a automobile use case, right? I was talking about new car, new wiper, etc., right? So identify what exactly you want to implement. Identify use case in your domain which interests you, and then identify which are the different categorization you want to do, and then you collect some test data, or the training data, so that your AI model can learn from that, right? I have used around 500-600 data for this demo, right? And then you train the model. And for train the model, you don't need to do anything. You don't need to know any programming or any Python, Scala, or anything. All you need to do is basically, running some APIs, and you can do those APIs running from your browser with some tool called Postman. So what does it do is like runs the REST APIs, and all the APIs you see here. So those will be running into you can run and you can prepare your model. And so once your model is ready, all you need to do give that input, which I was giving, and get the output. It's as simple as that. So the critical part is how you prepare your data set, training data. If your training data is strong, training data is very good, your model is so good. It's like, training data is more of like the Indian team, and that's how the Virat Kohli is so good as a captain. So again, you look at this, you just need to know REST API technically. But if you understand the business, you will be able to, create the training data appropriately. And that's why it makes difference. That's why I'm saying that you need to be ready, not only technology, but also you need to understand the business part of it. How do you do that? You may not know how American tax industry works, right? A tax process works, but you can definitely know how Indian tax process works, or you definitely know how Pizza Hut or Burger King works in it. So just keep your eyes open, learn that how those businesses are working. It helps me. I'm just telling from what I do. I try to relate or map my experience as a individual when I'm trying to talk to my customer. Right? When I was buying the car, I try to map the same experience, and I try to see how probably it's not match 100% match, like, but I get 50%, 60% match, and that helps me. That helps me to relate to customer use cases, and that is important. Yeah. Saying that, I'm almost there. So I'll open a few questions. I know we have only few minutes, but I'm okay to stretch if it needs to, if you have more questions. Okay. And if you are liking Salesforce, then this is for you.
Hi, this is Krishna. Sir, I would like to
Yeah, go ahead.
my name is Krishna.
Hi, Krishna.
Yes, so I would like to ask the scope of Java in near future. All other technologies are replacing existing technologies. So what you can comment on Java?
Absolutely. I think that's a very good question, and I'm happy to take that. Java will be there, sir. It's not going anywhere. Whatever you hear all those business gimmicks by some of the training corporations and all, but Java is not going anywhere. Java will be there. In fact, imagine mainframe is still there. So you can understand mainframe is still there. Some of the financial institution is still on mainframe, and they are not planning to move out. So Java will be there. Learn Java, or at least one object-oriented programming language. That's my suggestion. And whatever replaces Java, you'll be able to take it up. Java can be modified with Java 10, Java 11, and so on, but Java is not going to be killed. Okay, you are safe if you are learning Java.
There's one more. There's one more question coming up.
Sure.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes,
Am I
yes, I can
audible?
hear you.
Yes, sir. Like personally, I'm more kind of a web designer. So I was thinking of like shifting to like app designing and stuff. So as like other languages are replacing Java and Kotlin is there as a like replacement. So what should I do? Like, should I go with the Kotlin or should I start with Java?
Well, you are interested in app designing, you said, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm
When you said app,
usually
you were saying iOS.
so I thought of starting with app designing also.
So you do iOS and Android kind of apps? Is that the app you're talking about?
I thought of starting. I'm a web designer more of.
Okay, okay. I think you stick to that. I see a lot of traction on web designing and app designing. Okay, that cannot be probably not the very niche. People try to devalue it sometime, in my opinion and in my experience, but it's really valuable. It's very hard to find a person who has the concept of real user experience and who can contribute in web design or app design. It's a really I would say very niche skill if you can pick it up, the user experience part. You start thinking how user can do the thing more easily. Think of Steve Jobs. That's how we have all those Apple phones right now, isn't it? So so I think you continue with your app development knack. I really like that, and I really see that industry needs a good app developer. There are developers now, but the way I see it, if they don't find or they cannot crack something, then they go for app development. So I think somebody who is passionate about app development, we need them, right? So you continue with your passion. I think that's really valuable, and you will be able to see. In India, there will be a lot of requirement for you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Sanjay. Thank you so much. I
Any further
think,
question?
no, I think we can wrap up. Is it okay?
Yeah, I think I'm done. So yeah, I mean, I want to show a quick slide, and then probably we can wrap.
Yeah, sure.
So I just wanted to tell that if you are liking Salesforce, these are the next step for you. You can connect me on my Twitter or on my email, or rather, you feel free to share my personal email, the Gmail. I'm okay to take questions on that, as well as Twitter and all. And then we covered the questions, I guess, right?
Yes.
And yeah, I think that's where we are. So these are my contact details. And once again, I want to thank you, Anuradha ma'am, and thank you all for attending this. I hope that it was useful. And if you have any question which not coming to your mind now and coming later, I'm probably just one tweet or one email away. Okay, so you can anytime reach me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for taking your valuable time and sharing the information. I would like to thank you on behalf of Vidyalankar Institute of Technology and Dr. Sachin Bojevar, who is not here as he's gone as a mentor for Smart India Hackathon to Guwahati and at
Okay,
present
great.
he's traveling. So it's thank you from his end too, and thank you
Yeah,
from my side for sharing such a valuable information. Thank you, Sanjay. It was nice connecting. Thanks a lot.
really appreciate. Really appreciate. Thank you, and hopefully we'll meet soon.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.